Darren, good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm your host, Niraj Shah, and it promises to be a good start to the trading day today. Much unlike what happened in the Indian markets yesterday, today could be a very, very different day. And let's examine the reasons why I'm saying so. Not just for the start of the day, by the way. I somehow believe during the course of the day, we'll have a lot of positive announcements, etc., coming in, and multiple reasons, least of which is not just the Reliance AGM, by the way, but the US markets firstly did reasonably well for themselves. I think they were ho hum for some part of the trading day, at least early morning start, a better part of the day, and then had a bit of a surge upwards towards the latter half. Must say the Dow and the S&P actually did better than the Nasdaq. The last 2 days, the Nasdaq, the tech-heavy Nasdaq, has been underperforming the Dow and the S&P, and that's a telling statistic. I'm not saying it's a trend, but let's wait and watch if this continues, because the FANG stocks plus Tesla plus some of the other cloud-based companies in the US have really shot to the roof the last few. So can that change? Remains to be seen. The S&P 500, meanwhile, is finding it very difficult, though, despite these slight recoveries that I'm talking about, to sustain above its breakout level. I mean, look at this chart. It just shows that how this yellow median line, which is a breakout level 2020. This is the 2020 chart, right? I mean, the last 3 months is just unable to break through that. Maybe with reason, but it is unable to do that. That's the point I'm trying to make. So you watch out for those levels if you are a trader, because a move down on the S&P 500 and the US markets would impact Indian markets too. However, for today, the US markets did well. The handover was strong. Asia is not doing all that badly. We'll come up with a screen. And the start across the peripheral markets or the mainstream markets in Asia has been rather okay. So there's no cause for complaint if you're a bull. There's a bit of a handover that we are getting, handover and cues along with that we're getting, which are not all that bad, you would have to say. Yeah. And the SGX Nifty 2 indicates a start, which is in the green. So you, if you're a bull, you should be happy today. Let's put it that way. That's the simple sum and substance of today's session, or at least the start of today's trade. Now, the key is what could happen during the course of the day, isn't it? Um, One, the SGX Nifty, and two, the kind of cues that we have. So if you look at this, is the SGX Nifty, of course, 0.8% higher. Now, if you look at the index, it is at near 2 week lows, and we had seen selling across the board yesterday. So that is part one. But the beauty is, or the good part, is that if you look at the intraday of the Nifty yesterday as well, it came off the lows in significant fashion at multiple points of time during the course of the day, which meant that the selling wasn't. I mean, look at the chart, and it just shows you how from the peak lows or the trough lows, it actually came off, which is actually a good sign. And today, aside of results and all, we have the big Reliance AGM, and which could be a big thing, because any key announcements in the AGM may spur further interest in the stock. And frankly, if Reliance does well, there is very little reason to believe that the index will have a really large negative day, unless, of course, the banks really, really sell off. And that could well happen. I dare say the Reliance AGM is arguably the most watched event of the quarter. Yes, we are in earnings season, but I still say that I think this AGM is something that everybody, even global investors, are watching out for. I spoke to fund managers asking them for a phone call, and they said, let's do it after the Reliance AGM. So that tells you a story, doesn't it? Okay. Now, what else? Lots of earnings today, Q1 earnings from Infosys. So I think I'll watch out for that. And after what Wipro and TCS have done, this becomes very, very important. If Infosys also were to deliver, then it spurs further interest in IT. It shows that this pocket seems to be insulated relatively, and that could actually be a good thing. Speaking of IT, L&T, Infotech, Larsen & Toubro Infotech comes out numbers, interesting name. And we'll have pretty decent numbers from Bandhan Bank, I reckon, and Federal Bank too, because I think the quarterly commentary, the pre-quarterly guidance from Bandhan was actually pretty reasonable to my mind. And therefore, we might actually have a series of good, strong deliveries in terms of quarterly numbers, plus Reliance AGM, which is what I was referring to at the start, that there could be multiple positive announcements that all of us should watch out for. But the stocks that you should monitor at 9:15 a.m. And I think 3 or 4 stand out for me. I'm going a bit different today, and I'm choosing HDFC AMC as my stock of the day. And it could well not turn out to be one, but I think you should monitor this, because MSCI has increased the weight after Standard Life sold about 1.2 crore shares while a block on June 17, 18. I think effective buying, my conversations with people seems to suggest that effective buying of about 8 lakh shares as of close on July 15, that is today. And therefore, do watch out for HDFC AMC. Could be an interesting one in the session. The other one which came very close to being the stock of the day and could well be is Wipro. It's a bit of a dark horse. It hasn't really done too much, but look at the numbers. The revenues at 14,922 crores versus estimates of 14,414. The profit after tax substantially above estimates, margins substantially above estimates. And for a large IT company, this is a substantial beat compared to estimates. Viewers, keep that at the back of your mind. So operationally strong, ahead of consensus. You couldn't have asked for more from Wipro, really. And I would think that this one too could actually have a very decent outing in the session today. So do watch out for Wipro on the long side. If you are short in Wipro, please cover your shorts, I would presume. The Yes Bank anchor book had decent names. There was HDFC Life Insurance, RBL Bank, and Amansa Holdings. I can understand the others are large companies and therefore would want some exposure, but Amansa is a very choosy customer, Akash Prakash's fund, and this should give some respite to the stock, which is battered and bruised in trade yesterday. I presume it could give some respite. Let's wait and watch. Just telling you that the names are interesting. Eveready Industries, again, name is interesting. This was actually known because a lot of people spoke about it as well, but formally announced now that the Dabur promoters acquire about 8.49% stake in Eveready. And this stock was an upper circuit yesterday. Could be an interesting one in the session today. Just watch out for a couple of stocks. Again, I don't have graphics for them, but Emami, because of the sale that they have done, would make people believe that the promoter pledge concerns are behind. And Fortis, if indeed the case comes up for hearing today in the Supreme Court, could be an interesting one. It could drive spur interest in that stock. Remember, it was active yesterday. So these are the other two names that you should watch out for. Last but not the least, what stood out for me, in addition to, of course, Raghu Rajan saying that the bank NPS could actually spiral, is this global announcement from UK. I was reading it on the website yesterday. I think it was Bloomberg.com or CNBC.com, one of the two. I don't quite remember. But they said that the UK announced that it will ban Huawei from its 5G networks. This is a significant U-turn by the government, right? It significantly dents relations with China while appeasing the US. But the key is, think of it this way. Look at what's happened in India in the last few days. Money's come spurring in, right? Google might invest in Geo, announcement made by Bloomberg and BloombergQuint yesterday. Flipkart and Walmart promoters have decided to up their stake in Flipkart and pump in more money. A lot of people are putting in FDI into India. A lot of people, some people believe the conjecture is that some of it is because people want to move away from China as well, right? So that is part one. If indeed other nations are doing this, which is trying to ensure that China doesn't get a stranglehold on a lot of key areas, well, the advantage could be to a lot of the South Asian nations, and maybe in a converse way, that could be positive for countries like India and some of the others as well. But interesting, because there's a big bone of contention, a big thing, and the UK has decided they'll ban Huawei from 5G networks. It's a really big development in my mind, and therefore it stood out. Well, anyways, have a profitable day ahead. Lots of stocks to monitor, lots of stocks to trade at. So be careful, but have a good one. Thanks for tuning in.